Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Brousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Fahey. Joining me as ever, prettiest boy under the sun. You're going to like the way he looks. I Aaron Piet. 3 kids in a trench coat stacked on top of each other. Super ripped. Huge cocks.
Wow. Cocks are ripped, too.
Yeah, ripped in half.
Yeah, ripped in half.
He ripped himself
by
in
their
half.
own, by their own huge ripped
Just
arms.
they were torn asunder by their own tumescence.
Yeah.
Good use.
Thank you.
Aaron Joseph Peter.
That's me. Hello.
How you doing, man?
Speaking for all the children inside me.
Speaking for the 2 kids beneath me.
Yes, the 2 children beneath me and the 1 cock that we share. I'm feeling good, feeling great. We had a great time on Patreon.
Yeah,
We really did. That
We
was
had a
a
blast.
fun one.
Matt, you did the Ig Nobel Prizes.
And to your right, my left, Mr. Matt Brousseau.
Yeah, Matt.
Good
there you
looking
go.
son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
thank you.
Hi.
Thank
God damn it! You were on fire that episode. I really had a.
It was really good. You guys got to subscribe to the Patreon. You got to hear that magic that Matt's making over there.
Yeah, we had. A lot of canonical items were created.
For sure,
that,
for
you
sure.
know.
There's a legacy built there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
A real linchpin episode.
I mean, guys, if you have your shots
Yeah,
And a passport.
and a passport,
yeah.
we'll,
That one
we'll
might
bring you to America.
We might need to bring back for a media episode because it's so.
It's so
Get it now.
Yeah, but get it
now.
Get it now.
By the time you get
Because there's a bunch of shit, ooze it or goose it,
the Werner Herzog stuff.
recruitment in G. There's a lot of tasty tidbits in that episode. In the most recent Patreon, I really highly recommend you get into it and start there. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Also, check us out on the old Instagram, Profiles in Eccentricity, PP Podcast on Twitter, of course.
On fire lately as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Now, Matt, what did you say?
I asked if there was a Jaws themed porno, just because of the phrase "we're gonna need a bigger throat."
And it set the Twitterverse alight.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in your daughter.
Oh, God.
Jaws 2.
Oh,
The
my
Revenge.
God. Very nice.
Jaws 2.
Very nice.
She's not mine.
Stepdaughter.
Oh, stepdaughter.
Oh, cis bro.
Brother.
Whoa, cisgendered bro.
Oh, sis. Don't misgender me.
Oh, man. I had a really fun time in the John Holmes episode. That was
I
really
did too.
nice.
That was fun.
It led me to, this profile today.
Right. So we're still in that scumbag underworld.
Yeah, and I think our first brush with our subject today, Al Goldstein of Screw Magazine and Midnight Blue fame, porn journalist, I guess we could call him.
Sure.
That's his basic thing.
Certainly an enthusiast.
Definitely. He was also featured in the Phil Prince Part 2 because it was on his show that the Synth Coke commercial was played. So we kind of brushed up against it there. And that was the first time I thought about doing Al and just how ridiculous it was that he did have a show that was, it was a fucking porn talk show
Yeah.
on cable access in New York. And in the middle of the fucking 70s, 80s, when it was not at all really chill,
It wasn't at all chill. And public access was something that people watched.
Yeah, it was one of the channels you could get.
Yes.
There was no cable.
And it was on when everything else was off or playing MASH reruns.
Yeah.
Sorry, John. I just want to say there's a certain brilliance of public access that has been lost.
For sure.
And
It's been swept up into YouTube, I suppose.
Yeah, but Tim and Eric was kind of like the final nail. It's like there's no public access almost after Tim and Eric, it seemed, because that was on cable and it was
parody
of public access.
Yes. Especially
because
their 4 a.m. slot.
Yeah.
Public access had that that aspect of amateur night. And Al Goldstein talks about that when I think the channel is like going to be bought by like a corporate company, and he's just like, this is bullshit. Everybody, should be writing and like calling or whatever. And like he's one of the guys calling in is just kind of like, well, like I love you, Al, and like your show's crazy and amazing watching, but like all the other shit sucks. And he's like, yeah, but there's got to be a spot. Like there's got to be like almost an open mic.
Yeah.
For like entertainment, and that's kind of what public access is. And I think that now that we don't really have it, we do miss it.
Yeah.
It was also like most of those shows were call-in too. So it was like interactive,
Yeah, and more or less to your locality, right?
Totally.
Yeah, they had a here in LA there was Dr. Susan Block. And she was like a sex therapist lady. She still does stuff. And it was really, it got really nasty on that show. And then there was kind of the West Coast analog to Al. It was Colin Sleazy Friends.
Right.
And he was Colin, and he was sleazy.
Right.
And he had friends. And it was, I can't wait. I cannot wait to hear this fucking maniac.
Well, so Al, it wasn't just that it was his show, which was over the top, but it was also like everything advertising on him was shit like synth coke, which was a real product you could order from this guy in Maine that we talked about. That was the procurer of girls to be in Phil Prince's porn. If you listen to episode 3 and episode 53,
only your dealer will know the difference.
I think you want to hear that right now, Aaron.
I'd love to. Promise me you'd bring me some.
And I did. I've got it right here.
She smiles.
How can you not believe this guy?
Promise her anything, but give her synth coke. Is it snow or is it synth coke? Only a wallet knows for sure. Synth coke is available at adult bookstores and boutiques throughout Manhattan. Or send $9.95 to Buzz Productions, P.O. Box 446.
Dude.
Buzz Productions, the best coke dealer in Maine.
Promise her anything but give her synth coke.
Yeah. I really love you, baby.
Oh, God. Throat Manhattan. What? What'd you say? Did you say Throat Manhattan?
That's
Throat Manhattan.
That's one of Matt's movies.
It's a really gross Woody Allen one.
Yeah, it's grosser.
Grosser, yeah.
So I mean, that was the other shit that'd be on there, and then there'd be straight up just escort things like the one we heard. Aaron was what was that about again?
Yeah,
it was called like Oriental Express or something.
Yeah.
Oh, really? What was that about? Rugs?
It was this poor girl. Oh man. I don't have that one queued up, but Aaron can do a great impression of her.
I can't.
Yeah. What would she sound like? I don't remember.
I forget what she said. So, but if you tell me what she said, I could do it. I could read the script.
It's really bad broken English, to basically an offensive degree.
Do you think she was acting?
I think she was acting like she wasn't kidnapped.
Oh. Yeah. She was. No, I mean, she was probably, I would say, acting a little dumb or naive.
I don't know. I mean,
who's to say? I mean, it's got the word Oriental in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not.
It's a technical word. Oriental is technically about the East, the opposite of which is Occidental, which is the West. So it's a technically legitimate term.
Completely accurate.
Yeah, like retarded.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not saying Oriental people are retarded at all.
Of course, thank you.
No, you've never said that.
I've never said that Oriental people are retarded.
Yeah. Maybe on Occident. What's up?
Occident.
You won't know the difference.
Promise her anything, but give her Occident.
What is this? Is this toothpaste?
I can't feel my teeth.
I can't feel my gums. What happened? I think that Al was a guy that was basically just like coming up, sees, sleaze around and, the beginnings of hardcore pornography.
So what year is this? What year, what kind of time period?
He's born in 36. He is first arrested in 71. He comes from Williamsburg, Brooklyn. He goes to, like a boys' high school, and he serves in the Army as a photographer. And then, he's
in what? Korea, Vietnam.
That was he was in the Signal Corps, and that would have been, I would say, it would probably be pre-Vietnam because he's too young for Vietnam.
36, Korea. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You know. So then he's captain of the debate team at Pace. He interviews Allen Ginsberg in that time. He's a photojournalist for a long time, taking pictures of Jackie Kennedy on a trip to Pakistan, and he's arrested for a while for taking pictures of Raul Castro in Cuba. He's a pretty serious photojournalist, and you know, that's kind of crazy in that time. It's a dangerous job. And
the world was crazy.
Yeah. And he would do freelance writing a little bit. He was selling insurance. He was doing at the 64 World's Fair. He was selling rugs. Like there was all kinds of like little jobs like that. Encyclopedias. He would sell his own blood.
Hey, all right.
He was
Matt.
He drove a cab, and you know they call him hacks. He kept his hack license all the way until his death.
You never know.
He never stopped renewing his cabbie license.
No shit.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, you can always go back and drive.
And
Right. Those tokens are worth a lot of money.
he got a job. This is really fucked up, Matt. You're going to enjoy this.
You
Yeah,
always
you're
say
sick
that.
because you're sick.
Yeah, last thing I really enjoyed was a
No.
man's ass.
This is legitimate. Yeah, this is. He got a job infiltrating a labor union
Okay, so he
on
was
behalf of a company.
he's a scab,
Yeah,
sorts.
but then
a worm scab.
he was so revolted by it that he wrote about it in the paper. So he was like a double agent.
Oh wow, okay.
You know,
So
It's like Heart of Darkness. So he Colonel Kurtz.
it's pretty sick.
he went from Mr. Block to the Black and Whites.
In '68, him and his partner Jim Buckley, they go in on a weekly tabloid called Screw. And it's the first kind of like review of porn movies.
What year again? 68?
68.
Wow, that's a prime year in America right there.
Yeah, and that's before. I mean, that's before porn.
It's the dawn.
I mean, this
it's
is like you know.
it's the dawn of you know, back then the sex film was a protest thing. It was like, you know,
I mean, the Mod Squad was the closest thing we had to porn right then.
there was
TV
like
show
yeah,
the Mod School
yeah.
because there were more than one race on.
Yeah.
back then they had what they called nudie cuties
Yeah.
and stuff. There would be pubic hair, etc. You know what I mean? But
Wait, go on. Explain this.
Nudie
more.
cuties, they were called nudie cuties, where it was just like girls being naked, guys, whatever, you know. But it wasn't like hardcore porn.
Right, you could just see everybody's genitalia, but there's really hairy bushes.
Yeah, it was like there's like cute music playing and like, you know, it's whatever, titillating. But
Cool, all right,
then they're starting to go into hardcore porn around, you know, the turn of the 70s.
Well, I mean, how many years can you dance naked with someone before you know,
right?
someone
yeah.
sits on your face?
And but around that time too, before hardcore pornography, you see that there's a lot more like bikini pictures and stuff in the cinema. Like there's clearly like the yearning for it, but no supply. And so
Playboy.
then it goes into that shit. And so then they're talking about, you know, peep shows. They're talking about erotic massage parlors. They're talking about straight up escort services and brothels. They're talking about everything in Screw. And they're like, they're approaching it all as legit.
And is it?
And it's not
all New York?
It's based out of New York.
Is it? But is that a nation? Did they? What was their?
Well, it starts with just $175 and two guys. So then it's
Oh, you can do a lot with that out there.
yeah, it goes, you know.
Sounds like an escort.
Then it expands and expands, of course, but it starts out being very New York centric. Yes, and he would do very hardcore gynecological pictorials, book reviews of books about sex, and just without permission, pictures of celebrities. Like,
What's a hardcore gynecological pictorial?
Well,
I mean, I'm trying to put the pieces together.
now I'm at.
just imagine
well,
a pretty.
The thing is, you got to peel the pieces
yeah,
apart.
I mean that's
That's really what
okay.
it is.
Um,
This is a vagina.
it was just like kind of like a very graphic.
Yeah.
That was.
Well, I've always thought softcore was no penetration, and hardcore is when the penetration starts. Do I have that wrong?
Yes, no, that's totally right.
Okay.
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
But when he's
these
saying,
are
he's
just
saying hardcore gynecological,
just pictures.
He's just
Yeah,
saying that
okay.
it's not in the.
Oh, you just mean like hardcore dudes?
it's hardcore.
In that
It's
way.
just
It's
a
like
very
that New York
graphic
hardcore beatdown.
depiction of a vagina that you maybe haven't seen before.
Gotcha.
And so it's coming out like around the time where like, you know, there's just none of that shit, and it's kind of speeding along with the advance of hardcore pornography, which is now kind of like on like, I guess, film reels, and you know, there's like maybe some theaters playing it, but it's kind of like underground.
Yeah, it used to be like a stag party thing.
Very
right?
much,
You'd have to
very
have the
much.
projector and the.
But it was like we said, you know, the John Holmes thing, super underground. You could be arrested for it for a very long time. It was a felony. Making a porn. And Al was one of these guys, you know, went to jail in 71, I think, for the first time for pubic hair. And not having some, but showing some on some, somebody in a picture. And it was those guys, like along with Bill Emerson, from the John Holmes documentary, that were taking these First Amendment lawyers and being like, yeah, we have the right to do this. It is expression. And Al was definitely one of the first people doing that. And it was, for him, it was not because he was making porn. He was just really reviewing it.
Yeah.
And Screw was coming from this aspect of not taking it seriously and kind of making fun of it. Like, they were kind of like the Mad magazine about porn.
No shit.
Yeah, it's very kind of like the way we talk about it.
And kind of like the Onion being the most respectable newspaper in the country.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that anything that's on this level, that dangerous, is always going to get inadvertently political because its existence is a crime.
Right.
So it would sometimes, get, money and it would, bring a lot of, Scotty levels sexuality things to the forefront, and and just like demythologize them, and kind of definitely normalize pornography for sure, and trying
Definitely
to normalize
not
sex.
normalizing shit smeared sandwiches though.
No, nothing on that level. Again, listen to the Patreon if you want to know what that's about.
From the Patreon. If you want to have a little deeper dive into some of the Scotty Bowers,
Oh boy.
Yeah, we got some good stuff there.
Jesus Christ.
It was originally a quarter for a copy of Screw, and it reached a circulation of 140,000 copies.
At its height?
Yeah, at the peak, yeah.
That's quite a bit of copies.
Yeah. He was arrested 19 times for Screw magazine. And he kept getting him, kept fighting him, and eventually it went to a federal court, and he dismissed the obscenity case, the judge, in 1974, and he Al believed that specifically, that one kind of targeting of him was because around that time he wrote an editorial in Screw called "Is J. Edgar Hoover a Fag?"
Probably had something to do with that. Yeah.
The word fag or faggot may come up. Just so you know, Al is a big...
John is a little giant homophobe.
No, Al is a big, First Amendment type guy. But also, Al had allegedly sex with 7,000 women and three guys.
Yeah.
So, take it with a pinch of salt if he's throwing some F-bombs around.
He's a man of his time.
Yeah. I tend to think those 19 arrests were 19 times the cops were like, I want a free copy of Screw.
And he was like, no.
No, then they stormed his place and then took as many as they could.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, it was basically, the turn of porn was the turn of his magazine. That's 1972. That's the release of
Screw.
Yeah, Turn of the Screw. It was his insane review, glowing review of Deep Throat. That was partially probably responsible for the film's success as well as his own.
Right.
Because it was he just absolutely flipped out about it and how because it's funny and stuff. It's very up his alley, And he said in the review, I was never so moved by any theatrical performance since stuttering through my own bar mitzvah. And he thought a lot of it playing in New York had to do with his huge push for it, and then there was just kind of in tandem, he boosted porn and porn boosted him by virtue of its success, and so then he starts doing a bunch of other magazines. He does one called Bitch, which is more about women's sexuality, and still, run by him or whatever.
Well, he had sex with 3 men.
Right. But it's got Interviews with James Caan. He's interviewed in it.
Does he have a staff? I mean, what's
infection? Does he have a staff infection?
No, yeah. There's people writing for all these. Then there's Smut Magazine, and that one's more just dirty shit. It's not all the kind of editorial and humor maybe of Screw Magazine.
It's more of just a straight up porno magazine.
Yeah, it's just filthier.
It's smut.
He said it's so filthy that not only do you have to wash after every page, but every reader must disinfect after reading. Smut is so dirty, so scummy that once you have it on your hands, you can't get it off.
How dirty is it?
It's like hot Cheeto dust.
And
you're not getting that shit off.
Burroughs is interviewed in the national edition of Screw.
William S. Burroughs, is that right?
Allen Ginsberg.
Another friend of Burroughs.
Yeah, and so then there's like he does one that's kind of like a grim magazine called Death. Oof. And that's just like, like shit about Elvis dying and stuff, whatever. And
Rotten.com.
Yeah, on that level of kind of like morbid fascination. And he does some stuff, like he appears in some porn movies, and he's doing like he's doing Midnight Blue starting in 1974. And Midnight Blue is on like Channel 17 in New York, and by like First Amendment laws, like they can't take it off, even though he's talking about disgusting shit.
Yeah. That was the great thing about public access, is that it was fucking uncensored.
Yeah.
Totally uncensored.
It's crazy because, I mean, he's talking to every porn star of the day. It's like Harry Reams, Vanessa Del Rio, and then, just like random shit like, Debbie Harry.
Yeah.
And it goes on for fucking 28 years, man.
Wow.
28 fucking years.
Yeah, it's like the scumbag Larry King type of shit. Like, he's really asking them.
Yeah.
Fucked up, like real hard, no holds barred questions.
So, for example,
yeah, would you mind illustrating or demonstrating for us, John?
He does. This is the Debbie. This is part 3 of the Debbie Harry interview.
Debbie Harry, lead singer of Blondie.
Yeah, and she's interviewed alongside one of the other guys from Blondie.
Probably Chris.
And yeah, it's Chris.
It is Chris.
And Chris's wife, who they don't know. Like also Chris's wife is there. It's like, yeah, how about a name? And so he starts this one off because they've talked about like music and politics and other stuff, and then he goes into the kind of stuff he wants, which is insane, of course.
And now, continued from last week, Al Goldstein's interview with Debbie Harry and Chris Stein. Last week, Al was inquiring about Debbie's most intimate fantasies.
Fantasies.
Now, have you had fantasies? What's your position, missionary? Black guys. Do you think? I mean, have you big dicks? Do you think that they're more primitive, wild, or? I mean, is that the kind of guy you want the most? Yeah. Have you fucked men who are black?
Yeah.
And are they better fucks than white men?
No, not necessarily.
But they do have bigger dicks, don't they?
Not necessarily.
That's good to know.
Be reassured, white men.
There's an audience there?
How many gay experiences have you had?
How many gay experiences? Not too many. A few.
Would you rather have a woman eat your pussy or a guy eat your pussy?
Wow.
Oh,
I blew into you. Okay. Answer that, because the next question is even going to be tougher.
God, I don't know. I think it really just depends on the person.
Do you like to taste the pussy?
Yeah.
When you eat pussy, do you like to lick the clit or go around the vaginal wall?
What?
Okay, no. Okay, let's bring you, Chris. Okay.
Next question.
Okay. Bring her in. Okay. Do you like to taste the sperm?
Uh-huh.
Okay, good. No, it's good.
Yeah.
It's very like they're sitting on a couch very close together.
Yeah. There's nothing separating. I mean,
he does this interview with Robert Crumb, the comics artist.
Yeah,
and he's like, he's on his porch, and he's like, you eat pussy, you like your cock sucked, or.
Arkrum is a maniac.
Yeah, he is. I mean, these are more the people willing to do it.
But getting Debbie Harry, I mean, this is.
It's very New York too, though. You know,
punkish, and
it takes him a minute to ask the question. Mm-hmm. He's. What do you think? What's your position, missionary? Or I'm talking about black guys and the African Americans. Do you think they're primitive? Are the dicks bigger? They better love us. Are the dicks bigger?
That's good to know.
Which one's the question?
Yeah, where's the question, Al?
Yeah. Answer any of them, and he's happy. Like it's so insane.
But answer it, because the next one's gonna be.
Do you eat breakfast, Dad? Do you like cereal? What do you like? When you're gonna you take a shit? When you go to the bathroom?
It's what?
Yeah, it's really, really wild. He's kind of like, later years he's like getting away from
He already did all his clit questions?
No, he's kind of like one of the original directors goes away, and Al finally has like free reign to do some more of his like ranty stuff. And he totally uses that as like a very micro and macro soapbox of his own issues. So
it's usually a problem.
It's really, really great because like he'll be like complaining about like luggage he bought, like from Sharper Image or whatever.
Are you telling me that Al Goldstein has issues?
Yeah,
And it's called a "fuck you" segment. And it might be about the judge that just like tried him. They'll still be talking about the judge.
Al Goldstein's personal vendetta of the week.
A restaurant he didn't like. Go outside it, complain about the restaurant on TV.
Oh, he'll do it live
Stand it outside. Yeah, go outside and be like,
That's
like
amazing.
this place is bullshit. I'll tell you what happened. Yeah, totally out of his
I'm sure
mind.
he's a great customer.
And he's kind of doing like, well, this is the first one I want to show you because it really gives you an idea of I really like cursing.
Yeah,
a lot. And I really like it when there's like a string of obscenities because it just sounds so insane. And he does that, it just really gets me, man. So this is one of his kind of rants about like a famous person that I like a lot.
Sean Penn, you are a piece of shit. You are a braggart, a lowlife, and a brat. There's nothing good about you. You go around punching out photographers, being insolent, being sullen, being surly. I am sick of Sean Penn stories. I used to be a press photographer, and people like you I would not piss on. Sean Penn, you're a lowlife. And the reason you're probably so prone to violence is you have a little dick that's never hard. I'll fuck your wife, Madonna. Let her see a stiff Jewish cock. Sean Penn, if you don't like it, my office is right here at West 14th Street. Come get me. I'm going to kick your fucking ass, you low-life piece of shit. Sean Penn, go fuck yourself.
That's a good public access segment. Holy shit.
That's on TV.
Sean Penn, go fuck yourself.
In the 80s.
I'll fuck your wife, Madonna.
Yeah.
With
He
my
was a stiff
Jewish dick.
cock.
He loves talking about how small his dick is.
Oh, he's calling himself fat and small dicked all the time.
Shriveling.
Oh, it's so good.
Was he wearing a rug in that clip?
I don't think he does because he's still.
Is it Oriental?
He's still showing a lot of bald. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
why would you have half a rug? You know what I mean?
And this guy peed on it.
This is
Ties his head again.
this is one. Let's see.
He wouldn't have to keep trying to prove.
Let's see. This is a good one. Timely, shall we say?
Good evening. This is Al Goldstein from Midnight Blue. When I was a college undergraduate, I read a book by a guy named Thorsten Veblen called Conspicuous Consumption. And that's the time I read books. Now I'm an English major who reads books. I'm lucky if I read Screw Magazine. I don't read very much. I'm a typical publisher. But I do remember the thrust of Veblen's book was we live in a society where more is better. And this keeps coming back to me in a recurring kind of a nightmare as I think of Donald Trump. Donald Trump wants more. He's like the addict. He wants more of everything. He wants New York City changed to Trump City. Trump is constantly pushing onward. I know if he was happy, there was some internal peace, and there was a quietude about him. He wouldn't have to keep trying to prove something. And let's look at this from a Freudian point of view. He's always building towering phallic-shaped edifices. It's an edifice complex. This man obviously has a small dick, or Howard Trump's dick. What's his name? Donald Trump, Howard Trump. Fuck you, Trump. You're so unimportant, man. I don't even know your first name. That's your brother. He's the one with brains in the family. Donald, your dick probably doesn't work. Or when it works, it's so small, we don't even know it's hard. Donald, enough already. I'm sick of your fucking picture. I'm sick of your book. And what really has fused together to make me pissed off is I spent an afternoon at Trump Castle, that's right. I saw those ads. I thought it'd be great. Your room service stinks. I had lox and eggs for $8.95. It was second rate.
Lox and eggs.
My friend, who's a compulsive gambler, Lyle Stewart, didn't even have a box of chocolates. He needed them for his wife, Carol, because he was afraid Carol would not know he was really gambling. As if Lyle would be able to fuck another woman. He can't get his dick hard. But there was Lyle carrying on that he's going to be on Donald Trump's boat. Now, I'm not invited on Donald's boat. I'm not invited to any of the smart parties, but that's because Donald Trump, the name even makes me want to throw up. It's like Goebbels. Donald Trump is trying to prove something, and this need to look at me. Donald, you're a little spoiled kid whose shit does stink. We're sick of
putting a dildo on his face.
Your blonde wife is boring. White Bread Incorporated. She may not even have pubic hair. She's so virginal. Donald, please, would you dry up and go to some other city? Go to Baltimore. They can handle a Donald Trump. Donald Trump, I'm sick of you and everything you stand for. Donald Trump, go fuck yourself.
Oh my God.
Isn't that great?
That is
That's 80s Trump. That's like art of the deal era Trump, you know?
That is excellent.
It's really good stuff.
He's got an edifice complex.
Edifice complex. What?
Canon.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
I love it.
My favorite part, though, is my friend, compulsive gambler, names the guy.
He wants to get some chocolates. Tell his wife, as if she doesn't know he's gambling. Like, you fucking know him. He can't get his dick hard.
Nobody gets their dick hard.
My friend
Lyle Stewart. Give his address while you're at it.
Is he at fucking 14th Street? That is perfect. Oh, God.
Everything stays in, you know?
Yeah.
And he does it live.
Yeah, he does. He does all these rants, and it just it shows what a whack job he is, and how unafraid to use the little bit of power he has, to just go nuts on anything he thinks is fucked up, whether it's, like I said, micro or macro, whether it's the restaurant he just ate at that he felt like ripped him off,
or conspicuous consumption and Donald Trump.
It's crazy. There would be, other kind of like freaky people there, like very ping pong show level type people, not doing those shows, but doing freakish sex adjacent stuff where he'd be asking them about the acts.
Right. So this is a lot like, and I think maybe Al even talks about it. It's very proto-raw Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he definitely says he started. The thing is that he really did start everything because it just didn't work out as well. Like, Larry Flint readily admits that Al showed him how to do a magazine.
And how to fight for your First Amendment right.
Exactly, yeah. And definitely Howard Stern, humor and porn and all that shit, for sure. He does, other variations of kind of like, humor and TV and porn and all that stuff. Like there's Screw on the Screen, and but basically the long-lasting things are Screw and Midnight Blue. And, Screw was like, actually making him money. It was like kind of made him rich. For a while he was very wealthy.
Along with the other magazines like Bitch and
predominantly
Smut.
Screw though. The national version of Screw in the West Coast and everything. There was a Screw store for a minute in '76.
No shit.
It had a bicentennial dildo. 76, of course.
A bicentennial dildo.
Yeah. Selling dildos was led to one of his many arrests.
What was bicentennial about it? The
year?
Stars and Stripes?
It was just...
men or women could use it.
Yeah.
It was a bicentennial. Very good.
It was Lady Liberty's fist.
It was like that.
Yeah, it was a little clawsy.
And he's going to...
Well, I mean, that video, you're gonna have to put a screenshot up on Instagram of where he has a picture of Donald.
Yeah,
and
he's
with the dildo,
and he's putting a dildo over their face.
He's circling his wife with a dildo.
Yeah, the telestrator, but
She's
of a
so
dick.
virginal.
She's White Bread Incorporated. Probably doesn't even have any pubic hair. She's so. What?
He does like very, free speech oriented things after that. And one of them is in '89. He runs a full page ad in Screw offering $1 million for the assassination of Ayatollah Khomeini after the fatwa against Salman Rushdie.
Hey, like for like, I get it.
He, he definitely, married multiple times, 5 times in his whole life, many divorces. A lot of it resulted in his loss of wealth over the years. And the whole time he was essentially, in New York, but around the turn of the 90s, he goes to Broward County around
where's that?
Miami area, Florida. And he's got a house, huge mansion, 10,000 square feet, Pompano Beach, and right on the water, like the Intracoastal Waterway, there's a gigantic statue out back facing the water of a huge middle finger. So every boat going by would be like beeping and honking its horn, looking at this gigantic middle finger statue.
That is so cool.
It's fucking completely...
On the most phallic state in the union.
Yeah. Middle finger on the tip of the dick.
He goes...
of course.
He goes on... to do basically like his other really famous Florida thing.
Is it still there?
I don't know.
Okay, we're gonna have to just.
We're gonna have to look that up.
Yeah.
There's a place in Vermont that I took a picture of. A guy wasn't allowed to build this building, so he built a giant middle finger like 20 feet in the air and put it in his yard facing the town center. That wouldn't let him build this building. I took a picture. It's on my Instagram. It's great.
Yeah. This is really great, Aaron. You're gonna enjoy this. Wow. This he goes on in Florida in '92 to run for sheriff.
Oh, I love people running for sheriff.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
it's only him and Hunter S. Thompson I can think
because everyone knows a fucking cop.
I don't know who
the sheriff, the incumbent sheriff, Nick Navarro, became hated by Goldstein because of arresting 2 Live Crew on obscenity charges. So he's immediately like,
for sheriff.
I'm running for sheriff against this dude.
Did he shave his head so he's not a long-haired hippie like the other guy? And it was also one of the record dealers who sold As Nasty As They Want to Be. Was also arrested with 2 Live Crew, and they were convicted, and they went on appeal. And Goldstein got out of it before the election took place, of course. And he goes on, to kind of like see, porn, it's like everything else. It goes away in the 2000s when the internet comes around. Mm-hmm. So Screw and Midnight Blue and all of that just start declining because it's just like that shit's everywhere now. Mm-hmm. And now there's HBO is doing Real Sex and all that kind of stuff isn't so weird and fringe anymore. Right. And, he's just, like I said, like losing a lot of money from his divorces and shit. And he's pretty much just going bankrupt.
Shit.
And he's kind of limping along, and he's got 2002, one of his former employees, he published a telephone number and her place of employment and encouraged readers to call her and tell her to stop being a cunt. And
I don't think you have the right to do that.
Yeah, total insane.
He doxed her.
And he got 60 days in jail, and 6 days into the sentence, he apologized as part of the plea bargain, and Screw goes down in 2003. Only 600 copies of the last issue, down from 140,000.
Yeah, I mean, in 2003, though, that's a fucking hell of a run for a porn mag. That
28 years of Midnight Blue is fucking insane.
Yeah, 28 years of public access is
fucking nuts, man.
I mean,
it was one of the longest running TV shows at the time.
Yeah, and it's caught. I mean, other than the synth coke ads and the ads for the fucking comfort girls, like you're not making money.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's about it. It's very
but an endeavor of love.
Yeah, and most of the money coming in is from the escort services and stuff, like that Oriental one that you love.
I love that. I love women of every race. I don't know about you. I know you have to slap all sorts, but I like to caress and treat with dignity and respect.
Right? Yeah, I don't slap anybody.
Wow.
Take it easy, guys. Don't fight over this one.
Spank, slap.
You
call it slap.
Swank.
Slap is good for you.
A smack is all right for you. Sugar smacks.
He loses the Florida mansion. He loses the
middle finger.
The middle finger. He loses the apartment on the Upper East Side.
I think they pushed into the water in like 3,000 years.
And it's just like gonna bobbing, like, and then Charlton Heston's gonna see it one day on a beach, like, damn you! Damn you all to hell! You did it!
And it's like,
or I like to see it like on the back of a flatbed truck as it gets repoed by the bank. And so the last thing he sees is his own middle finger driving away into the sunset.
Yeah, he's got some pretty bleak opinions on like mortality and stuff. He was big into shitting on Christianity, of course, because of mainly its very righteous nature. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked him why Jews were dramatically overrepresented in the porn industry. Why are there so many Jews in porn, Al? And he goes, the only reason that Jews are in pornography is that we think Christ sucks.
That's the only reason. Dad,
just a big fuck you.
He goes, Catholicism sucks. We don't believe in authoritarianism. And then the guy asked him, what does it mean to you to be a Jew? And he goes, it doesn't mean anything. It means I am called a kike.
He goes, and the guy goes, do you believe in God? And he goes, I believe in me. I'm God. Screw God. God is your need to believe in some super being. I am the super being. I am your God. Admit it.
I love it.
He goes, we are random. We're a flea on the butt of the dog.
That's good. That makes sense.
Total lunatic.
Flea on the butt of a dog. Butt of the dog.
One of the last big moves before the bankruptcy thing was he's going to go to the Antilles and St. Martin and open up a ranch, which is a chain of 10 to 30 bordellos.
A chain of them.
Yeah, and he was going to use the profits from that to finance his second run for sheriff, of course.
Of course.
And the authorities never gave him a license, because they're like, "You're not a citizen. Get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about?"
It's a lot of bordellos too. You got to start with one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And his explanation for later, he goes, "We didn't bribe the right people or something. I don't know."
We don't want your cum money here.
His show is great, because like it's. Obviously, like the interviews and the exposure to all the stuff, and then there's the rants. But then, like, he's doing a lot of straight up humor shit, and it's dark, it's bleak, and I really, really like a bunch of it. He did this.
You?
He really did. He really did. And it's funny because. He's advertising like a lot of phone numbers, and there's actually like brothel phone numbers and synth coke phone and all that other shit. So he'll be doing like these parody phone numbers.
Oh, so he'll like weave in
555 Kvetch. He whines. He moans. He complains.
I don't want to.
Yes, call now and hear a flabby old Jewish pornographer bitch, bitch, bitch.
My life's gone to shit.
555 Kvetch.
Hey, vey.
He's old. He's tired. He's hungry. He can't get laid. They've run out of Haagen-Dazs.
Who the fuck ate my goddamn ice cream?
It just goes on and
I
on.
love it.
No, I can't take it anymore.
555 Kvetch.
I don't want to pay retail.
It's always something.
I don't want to pay retail.
555 Kvetch.
bitch.
Call now. I'm surrounded by incompetence. Oh God, you're failing me. Oh, no one listens. It's very hard. Oh, it's so hard.
This
Michael Jackson, Tanya Harding, 2 careers shattered forever? What's a disgraced celebrity to do to save public face for posterity? Well, watch all your image problems vanish with a simple application of the Dr. Kevorkian Home Suicide Kit. Yes, everybody loves a dead martyr.
Staying
Whether
alive.
you're talking about a blonde pill-popping
Burning Disco Inferno.
gangbang girl or a fat, lecherous Republican lounge singer. That's right. For only $29.95, you can get the same results as these big-name stars.
Belushi?
Murder, accident, or suicide.
Holmes?
Who cares
No.
what
Oh, that
the
was
coroner
Freddie
says,
Prinze.
as long as you time it right. Go for that
Murder,
spectacular
accident, or
demise
suicide.
and be remembered for your golden years, not your dishonorable downfall. Through this exclusive TV offer, Dr. Kevorkian will provide you with your choice of this in-home kit, or, for those in the fast lane, this portable car suicide device.
It's a
the
noose or a
cheapest way to
hose.
save the lucrative marketing rights for
amazing.
your heirs. Do it now before you fuck up again. Call 555 Gruberg now. Operators are waiting to take your last words and credit card number.
in-home kit comes with diapers.
That's very good.
Because you shit yourself.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my God.
Go out on top. Give me that is fucking next level funny.
Yeah, dude.
Go out on top. People will. I mean, listen, the Michael Jackson thing, like, other than the HBO documentary,
I mean,
people die when.
Once again, CBS, NBC, ABC, Channel J in New York.
Yeah.
What? Like, this is one of the few channels you can get with bunny ears, and they're doing that shit on there. And then, the next fucking guest is fucking a porn star? What? It's fucking crazy.
That's amazing.
It's really great. I mean, it was the, I think, our generation of people, we straddled that line of the analog digital kind of, I remember public access. I used to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was either that or the scrambled spice shit, where you're just trying to like illegal channels. What? Trying to make a fucking squinty.
Just find a nipple in there somewhere.
Yeah, scrambled softcore
I think
nipple.
There's a nipple. Is that a boat or a nipple?
I don't know, but either way.
I like it.
And now, but the workaround was public access. It was just so salacious, and you couldn't believe that it was uncensored and the stuff that they were talking about.
Yeah.
And you would get, the funny shit like this.
And some of the stuff would get, with the language and everything on there, it would get around a lot of stuff, but he would kind of use like a loophole that it was campaigning politically, and then you can fuck with that even less. So he would always be like, oh, well, it's part of like a campaign, we're like a political organization, of course, and like it was just bullshit.
Right, because there's something like equal time. There's a lot of rules in terms of using airwaves for political campaigns. I don't know the
but
details,
because it's like state-run TV, there was like all these ways to manipulate it because there's no money involved.
Right.
It's just, and then all you're bringing to it is like, legal argument and being like, tell me why I can't do this.
Right.
I mean, I wonder is there like in the legality of campaign ads, if you're just running on smut.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you got to,
Hey, let the man say his piece.
That's right. This is a platform. At least it's an ethos.
It's sticky, but it is a platform.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
This is an intro to Midnight.
555
Kvetch. Yeah.
What was there a joke with the Gruberg?
I don't know
number?
what that is.
I don't know.
I guess
we're a little bit young. We're too young for
this
that.
Is
Jimmy Gruberg.
This is the intro to a Midnight Blue episode that me and Aaron heard at work today.
Just on the local radio?
Yeah, we tuned in our bunny ears.
The following broadcast is not to be seen by anyone with a soul.
Nobody with a soul.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's nice fun.
From Television City in New York, Al Goldstein presents Midnight Blue.
A big fat obese man like me having sex on Midnight Blue? It's disgusting.
Welcome to Midnight Blue at 28 years, the longest running show on cable TV. Tonight, Screw News plus the infamous Al Goldstein you department. Also tonight, the best of the Midnight Blue interview with Marilyn Manson, legendary film director Russ Meyer, and Penn Jillette of Penn and Teller. All this plus tits and ass and satires. It's Midnight Blue, the hottest show anywhere. Stay tuned.
Yeah. He's wearing a brassiere.
My overweight Terminator. I'm always watching you.
Al Goldstein to me is the biggest sneeze bag.
He is probably the most sickening, degrading scum pervert.
Billy Graham.
Lecherous loser.
What about Al Goldstein, huh? Another genius.
Grandpa Monster?
Okay. Yeah, but okay.
We control. Is that a McConan?
And we control the Al Goldsteins. I like Al Goldstein. So do I. I like
A fat Jew who interviews sluts.
A fat Jew, who cares?
Al Goldstein, a fat Jew who cares.
Totally insane.
I mean, predating Fat Jewish by 30 years.
Yeah, I think he even stole that.
It's just, I mean, that is like a great lineup. He had fucking OJ on the show. I gotta get that.
Yeah.
Is there a best of Al?
There's like a 7 DVD set like that you can get, and I'm definitely getting it.
Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy one for each of us, and one of those sets, we'll give out to somebody on Patreon or something.
That's a great idea.
I think that's. If I was one of you listeners at home, one of you normal people, all right, one of you plebes
at home jerking off,
grandma's basement, whatever. I would love a 7 DVD.
Jerking off to our voices. What?
Yeah. Speaking of deaf shit, well, I guess it's blind, huh? Damn. Never mind. I saw this thing called Defula, which was a deaf rendition of Dracula. They all did it all in sign language. Anyways,
right.
Let's find John. Will you find where I can buy the 7 DVD set
sure,
of Al Goldstein or Blu-ray or Laserdisc? I don't think it's streaming anywhere.
No, not the whole set. No.
So that we'll put up and we'll make that some sort of contest thing or something. That's where I think that's just a very profiles thing to do.
It is. It's there's a lot of people on there that obviously
I mean, Penn Jillette, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, it's a hell of a
Pat Buchanan, Billy Graham.
I mean, the pulley has 28 years in New York. Everybody who's anybody in entertainment probably
For 3
saw
decades.
Al Goldstein at some point.
Yes.
Either he interviewed someone they love or
hated, or exactly.
So he's got these several marriages. With his third wife, he has a son, Jordan Ari Goldstein, and they were close until they divorced, and him and his son became estranged after he called Gina, his wife, a contemptible vagina.
A contemptible vagina.
Yeah,
that's what it took to kick the son.
The son.
Enjoy licking the clitoris or the contemptible vagina walls?
The walls, the contemptible walls of the.
He did remain good friends with Larry Flint. He did, say like, yeah, he basically stole the shit from me, but he succeeded, and he's like, I did not. Which is
you
like
mean business-wise.
Business-wise, he's like he made a magazine that that lasted, and I didn't. And even if I did it first, I didn't really,
magazines are all gonna fail anyway. So.
But he, so he's got his legal problems with the employee thing that happens, and then Midnight Blue and the company that makes Screw and Midnight Blue, they go for bankruptcy in 2004, I think. There's a lot of fucking wasting money on dumb shit, like a big middle finger shit. There's a lot of shit. He's kind of like, he orders a lot from catalogs and stuff.
You don't say.
Yeah. A lot of like electronic shit
Sky
that
Mall.
he doesn't.
The sharper image.
Yeah.
He seems like he's a Sky Mall kind of guy.
Very much. And like shit he doesn't even know how to use. Like just and then a lot of
and he's talking about conspicuous consumption, ranting about it as he's
he knows it so deeply.
Yes, he's become the enemy. He stared into the abyss.
So he goes into just like total pennilessness. Like, I mean, he's in a shelter in New York.
What?
A homeless shelter, yeah. And
Jesus Christ.
And then he kind of
like in 2004, 2005?
Yeah, and
he's
then,
in a homeless shelter.
Yeah, he's got a job for a minute at the very famous 2nd Avenue Deli, just like kind of like greeting people. And
having a lot of old boxers back in the days that they'd end up being greeters at casinos.
Yes.
And he got
deli permit.
He got fired.
Well, he was Jew.
He got fired for sleeping in the basement. And then he's
no one's been greeting all day.
These people are ungreeted.
He gets arrested for shoplifting from Barnes & Noble for stealing like 4 books about health. What? He's like in his 70s or whatever, like.
One of these is gonna bring me back.
There was a porn search engine called Booble.
No.
Yeah, really bad.
Stop
really bad. I'm sorry.
And he tried to make that?
No, he was blogging for them. And
he was blogging for Booble?
For Booble, yes. And then he did his own website until 2009. And
what was that called? His own website? Just Al Goldstein?
Yeah, screw.com or something. And the whole time after he gets homeless, somebody tells Penn Jillette, and Penn Jillette supports him for the rest of his life.
Fuck yeah.
Penn Jillette puts him up in Howard Beach in an apartment. And Al will tell everybody, he's like, I live in Howard Beach. Penn Jillette pays my rent. Magic.
You know Magic.
I know Penn Jillette is.
He's the one that talks. Where is Howard Beach a decent, nice neighborhood?
Yeah, it's like a very Jewish Queens neighborhood.
Okay.
Biohazard, Howard Beach. That's for Dodger. And he like basically, he was so in love with Al Goldstein because he saw Al Goldstein as being like one of the biggest champions of the First Amendment.
Yeah, definitely.
And the minute he found out, he was just like, somebody told him, and it was just like, anything he needs.
Absolutely.
You know?
You got to do that for people.
And it was just a little apartment, you know, and he died
Magician's salary.
2000.
Pendulet's fucking loaded.
Yeah,
2013, renal failure, passes away.
Those are kidneys, Matt.
I was like, who's renal?
He failed?
He was listed.
What year was it?
That was 2013 when he passed.
2013, he dies of renal failure.
Yeah, and you know Jimmy Breslin?
Yeah.
The New York writer?
Yeah.
No.
He's the guy at the beginning and the end of Summer of Sam where he's like, he was arrested. That sick fuck is now serving, 20 years, whatever. He was the guy, writing back and forth with the Son of Sam, of course, in the editorial, and it's just kind of like that neighborhood guy that everybody listened to. There was that's like a very big thing, I think, in the cities where there's just an old guy everybody listens to.
Well, Breslin was he was the voice. In so many papers. For
the neighborhood character that
legendary reporter,
kind of the regular guy on the street voice.
Yeah, man, exactly. The gossip, a male version of a gossip, I suppose.
He said about Breslin, Al Goldstein is one of the 4 people in the last 35 years who has effectively protected the First Amendment rights of reporters who bring the news to you. The others are Ralph Ginsburg, Larry Flint, and Lenny Bruce.
Hell yeah.
I know you don't want to meet them, but you owe them. And that is so accurate to me. It's like every one of those guys, you're sure is a pain in the fucking balls.
Yeah.
But if not for them,
you wouldn't. Lenny said, you take away the ability to say fuck, and you lose the ability to say fuck the government.
Exactly.
And then you OD and you die naked in your bathroom.
Oh, right.
But you gotta get, I've said this before.
You gotta have those fights,
and you gotta have those guys because you're not gonna do it. And great men are not good people. Sorry,
but with the exception of Larry Flint, maybe all of those guys have bitterly tragic ends.
Flint's
is still really
he has a
bad.
Tragic current.
Yeah. But yeah, it's It's an ugly road for sure, but it's
somebody's got to go.
Somebody's got to do it, and there's when you come against some of those things that he says that are contemptible, and you're like, ugh, Jesus, Al,
come on, buddy.
It's you're like, yeah, but that's kind of the
I'm
price
going
you pay.
this far, so you can go slightly less far.
Yeah, and it's not thrilling when he's calling somebody a cunt and
a contemptible vagina.
Yeah, vagina. But it's it is. You got to take it all or nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have been in that position to take a stand on the First Amendment if he hadn't been a miserable cunt himself.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a funny part of it. Just the misery. The misery is very eternal. The openness, when he's an old man, he's like I sex with the 7,000 women, 3 guys.
Did that make me a fag? I guess.
I don't know. I can't say fag. And he goes, I'm sorry, an effeminate sword swallower. Can I say that? Yeah.
I can't say. He says I can't.
You can't say faggot.
I'll say effeminate.
Effeminate sword swallower.
You wouldn't want to have sex with me. My penis is it's shriveling, and my belly is bigger than my cock. The self-loathing, self-deprecation.
He goes, I lost weight. The surgery I had. He goes, he's like, the first time I could see my cock. He's like, before over my gut, it looked like the girl was just bobbing for apples. Gloomy. I just see her eyebrows.
Oh my God,
Jesus! I just see her eyebrows.
That's the thing that you lose with people of our generation. I'll say great things about people of our generation, but I'm going to say horrible things about people of our generation now is because people of Al's generation and people of that time, of that first half of the 20th century, they had lives that were so varied and did so much and saw so many things.
Right, through the Second World War. Into,
For a second, Korea, whatever.
The hippie movement.
They saw...
Sexual revolution.
Yes. And then they got to their later years, and it was this quote, postmodern era.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had all this like opportunity and relative safety and some access to wealth. And they were all funny. And they were all real as fuck because I saw people die face down in the mud. Whatever. What are you gonna, Rod Serling, jumped out of fucking airplanes.
Yeah, maniac.
Jim Starlin, the comic book writer, was in Vietnam. And, like all these. Al was like a taxi driver, a door-to-door salesman.
Never got rid of his taxi license because he was like, I can always maybe need to go back to that.
Exactly.
And I do that to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
Even when I've got the mansion and the Upper East Side apartment.
Hey, middle finger.
Like I can always go back to that shit.
But he didn't. He lived in a homeless shelter and he relied on a magician. I just wonder if...
Wild ride, huh?
It's such a wild ride, and I don't think...
The magician pays my rent.
You know magic.
And now
I was just talking about...
Now, does he swallow swords?
Yeah, I was talking about...
Effeminately?
The giant magician.
I talked about blowjobs for 40 years. Now a magician pays my rent.
Now, who's the one turning the trick now? But yeah, I guess I don't know where I was going with that, but I think there's something to having such an incredibly varied life that makes you such. These people are so much more interesting than somebody who just
but
the
openness too, and the self-loathing,
right? That you can't say that about everybody for his generation. But
it goes along with if you are the biggest proponent of the First Amendment, it's just about like honesty, period. So you're gonna be like later on, you're like, oh yeah, it'd be great for him to say like, I fucked all these women, I fought for all these rights, and he brags about that stuff. He's like, there was no hardcore pornography. There would have been hardcore pornography. Al, relax.
Trust me.
But also, you're kind of right, and you have that right to brag. But then also, coupled with that, he's like, I wish I put more effort into my relationships.
Yeah, I wish my son didn't hate me.
Yeah. It's just really raw.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
I think we could use more raw.
Well, being such a proponent of the First Amendment, he also has to accept the First Amendment is available to other people too. So that makes him open to
the criticism too. Yeah, being like, well, I'm fat, and I do this, and I'm a loser, pathetic, whatever. And like, he goes in, everybody that way, and then it also brings out these interviews like he's talking to like David Allan Coe, and David Allan Coe's like, dude, if it's wet, I'm coming. Like I don't last. Like he's like, what, dude?
Hey, fun is fun.
And it's just crazy things. It's fucking insane discussions with people. And
the stuff with Debbie Harry is like, Jesus Christ.
It's crazy,
She's
man.
so hot.
Dude, it's wild. And
it's
but then there's politics and it's drugs and they talk about everything and like
and you know what I think
the
a lot
music
of it was
business
back then is that nobody thought anyone was listening. That's part of it, right?
They kind of weren't.
Right, but now
also
they are.
Well, it's like, he's kind of a guy that matters in New York.
Right, yeah. I mean, especially back then. He's not, LA's not getting the YouTube videos.
There's just the rounds you make in all those towns, and he was one of them.
LA, you're doing Carson, right? New York, what are you doing? You're doing
coke.
You're doing coke and Goldstein.
Synth coke.
Yeah.
In Russia, coke does you. Yeah, I think he was on like a pretty tight circuit of. I guess also anything vaguely countercultural or subcultural too.
Yeah,
right?
I wonder if Timothy Leary ever did his shit.
Like fucking Marilyn Manson's on there.
So he was going deep. When did the show and when did Midnight Blue end?
That all of that shit lasted into the 2000s.
It was like what 2003 went bankrupt.
Yes, 2002 to 2004.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
Yeah, that's just
did he
just
have
shy.
Did he have a 9/11 episode?
Probably.
He has fucking OJ on.
We have to see that.
Yeah,
we have to know what's going on.
When does he have OJ on?
When could he have OJ? When would he have OJ on?
Either pre-94 or after...
Naked Gun was a pretty great movie. I mean,
he's definitely having him after the murders.
Yeah, so then it's
Al Goldstein.
First Man.
He was friends with Joey Buttafuoco.
He was.
He's friends with him?
Yeah, he was friends with him. Yeah. It's bad.
What the fuck they go?
It's Al Goldstein, not Ron Goldstein.
Yeah, I mean that's.
We got to play some.
We got to find the OJ interview,
and we got to put some of these hits on Instagram because they're just too good. Like he's just too. He's the guy. He's that guy.
Minute to minute raw. Like
he is the I don't give a fuck old Jewish guy, and that's an archetype now in our current zeitgeist. It's the old loudmouth Jewish guy who's not wrong.
Oh, yeah. And is
he an asshole? Maybe, but he's not wrong.
Withering about himself, withering about Christians, withering about Jews.
Yes.
Withering about everything.
Yes.
You know?
555 kvetch. Done. Done.
Yeah. It all sucks.
Yeah.
Everything sucks. You know? He talks about New York being the city from hell.
I love it.
And stuff like that.
I loved it.
It's this
running around in a bra with a cigar in his mouth, huh?
Yeah, and like that's the thing too is that like he's also like kind of like aware of how ridiculous it is that he's the one there. He's like, what am I? He's like, I'm a fat
old
Jew.
Jewish. My belly,
know,
you can't see my cock. It's shriveling. I'd love to fuck you, but I could. I'd come so fast. You'd be hairy.
If it's wet, I mean,
I just can't.
Yeah, it's it's.
Just... Linda Lovelace gave me head. Sika's sitting on my face. What? He's talking about all these porno legends that he's fucking.
Yeah.
I don't want to grow up to be that guy.
No.
But
I mean, it'd be fun to have him for a dinner.
Yeah.
And then send him right on his way because that's gonna get old fast.
Yeah, before dessert.
This is the City from Hell rant he does, and this is really, really good stuff.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a good transition.
The music.
That's a good transition right there.
The late 90s effects.
This is Al Goldstein in New York City, the city from hell. And I'm in front of one of the manifestations of why in New York City every step and every inch is a struggle and a battle. San Francisco, which I just came back from, is beautiful. Life is easy and mellow. LA life is easy. New York, if you make it to the evening, you feel it's an accomplishment. Everything is complicated. This manicure place, it's one of these equivalents of an Asian spa. The women who are not good at blowjobs wind up doing your fingers and your toes. What I hate about it is,
my God,
was scheduled. I came in here and I saw that there was some manicures free, and I said, "Can you take me and my wife?" My wife. That still feels weird to say. It's only been 3 weeks, and they said, "Sure." So I sit down, and Patty sits down, and 10 minutes later we're still waiting. And I said, "You said you could take me." Now this is minor, minuscule, not that important. The issue really is people lie to you. These bastards who would be much better off fucking and sucking are used to lying to Americans. They don't respect the American society. So this place here, the Nail Boutique, is another example of New York being impossible. Another example was Sotheby's. I went there for this auction they had on John Lennon photographs and rock and roll
nail
clothing.
Salon.
And the
to get ready
if you
for
were Jewish, I
Sotheby's.
say the Jewish. If you're black, I say the Schwarzer. The Schwarzer auctioneer with his faggoty way wouldn't recognize me because I wasn't in the right place. The spotter saw me, so Sotheby's gets a fuck you. The point is, New York is difficult. If you can survive in New York, you can survive any place. And in a moment, we're going to head down to another place that's even worse. That makes the Asian revenge seem like nothing. I mean, if Hitler created a city to be painful to sensitive people, it would be called New York City. We're going to continue this report.
Oh my God! That's a Freddy's hand
We'll be back with more of Al Goldstein's City from Hell segment right after these messages.
So long they didn't take a break.
Oh, here we go.
Call 1-900-USA-GIRL from anywhere in the United States.
USA? I thought it was part of
You never
Orientals.
know what you might hear and experience. Remember, you must be 18 or older, but call me now at 1-900-USA-GIRL, 24 hours, 7 days. Remember, that's 1-900-USA-GIRL. It's only $3 a call, so call me now.
Wow. Guaranteed not American girls.
Hey, America, New York is giving you so much. We've given you bad music. We've given you crack. Now we're giving you Screw. That's right. In a special TV offer available only to Midnight Blue viewers, a 50-issue subscription to the world's greatest newspaper can be yours for only $19.95. Each weekly dose of Screw is a mojo Molotov with enough adult video reviews, sex news, and big city coups to keep you going down and come home.
Any goose
so come on, you crummy redneck, zip up your pants and send your check or money order for $19.95 to Milky Way Productions, P.O. Box 432, Old Chelsea Station, New York, New York 10011.
No way he had rights to these songs.
No, but it's public access. Old Chelsea Station, New York, New York 10011. Do it now. You must be 18 to subscribe.
Who's it for you, goose it, bro? That is.
As we promised,
oh, he's back
to Al
more
Goldstein's City from Hell segment.
My God.
So dramatic.
Great production. Good editing.
Camera world.
As I was saying, what makes New York the city from hell are the little injustices. This represents a major injustice. Camera world. My ex-wife went here to return something, and they said we don't return. They do switch and bait. This is a store that should be closed. It's a criminal operation. If I were an attorney general, I would use the RICO criminal statute to close this place. Switch and bait, hustles. This is a place that makes everyone ashamed. This is the ultimate consumer ripoff. These are the lowlifes, the classless scumbags of marketing. Whatever the prices are, they'll try and switch you to something else. I would love to have them sue me. This is a second-rate whore store, a second-rate operation. It's a fucking disgrace. And I want to tell
Trump got his
anyone who shops at Camera World is going to be ripped off. I told you my ex-wife went here to return some computer program.
The no sign over the sign.
They sold her the wrong program. Then when she wanted the right program, they were absolutely unkind. They were rude. They were abrasive. This is the rip-off store. This is the whore store of marketing. We're going to keep complaining to the Attorney General and the Consumer Frauds Division, but anyone who shops at Camera World deserves to get it up the ass, because this is a store that will fuck you over. This is Al Goldstein from Midnight Blue saying, Camera World, go fuck yourself.
I love it. I love it.
So petty.
Yes.
It's so petty.
My ex-wife was here.
She wanted a program,
but also
they got the wrong program. She went back. They were very unkind. What?
This is a camera store. Birthed in the womb of Hitler's anus, gestated in Stalin's cervix, and birthed from the penis of Napoleon Bonaparte. All three antichrists together have made Camera World a whore store, to put it in the eloquent language of the Jew Al Goldstein.
You feel like if you make it to the evening, it's been a triumph because the city is so raw and hateful, savage and primitive.
It's as if you are a rose that had grown from the concrete only to be greeted by noxious miasma of ass gas from Donald Trump gaping sphincter hole. A cruel joke played by you on the by the gods. I'm Al Goldstein saying you can go fuck yourself.
CVS can go fuck yourself.
With
if
your
you shop at
receipts,
CVS, you deserve to get it up the ass.
You deserve to be strangled alive by the obscenely and pornographically long receipts. Nobody is using those bucks at CVS.
Speaking of pornography,
go see these Asian girls who are too good for the nail salon.
Dude, how about that?
If you can't fuck or suck, and come here to do your nails.
You do fingers and toes if you can't fucking suck.
It's horrific.
It's insane.
It's so ignorant. Like, here's the thing.
It's worse than the Asian revenge just was going on downtown.
Yeah.
What?
What? Revenge?
Asian revenge?
Al Goldstein.
For what? World War II?
What Asian revenge?
What are you talking about?
You got to be pretty specific in this World War II, Korea. I mean, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. When you say, if you can't fuck or suck, you go do nails and toes. He's probably got plenty of Asian friends.
Oh my God! Oh no, he's totally out of his. Yeah, he's
being a cunt for being a. This is it's
the sake of it.
Yeah, because I know it's stupid. And I know it's gonna hurt.
Right? Yeah. If I say something ignorant, it'll hurt your feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally.
I don't. He doesn't believe. He probably 10% believes it, but
I don't. I really don't. I think he really is just being mean to do it.
I know what the hurtful thing to say is, so I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, and you see it on the interview side.
You know what? You're just like your mother.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe it, but I know you're gonna hate that I say it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I'm not going to talk to you for the rest of my life.
Right. You're just like your fucking mother. She's, no wonder your dad cheated on your mom. What?
What'd you say, dude?
Huh? Fuck you.
Fuck you, dude.
Dude, I said with 7,000 girls and maybe 3 guys. What does that make me? Gay?
What?
Fuck you, dude.
Nah, I'm a fucking effeminate sword swallower, dude. I don't fucking think so.
That's fine. If I'm any kind of sword swallower, a mask, top, alpha, mask, sword swallower.
Sword eater, motherfucker.
Dude, I'll take your sword.
I eat the motherfucker.
I'll take your sword to the hilt, to the dome.
To the Molchat dome.
Oh, very good. I like it very much, John. I like it very much, and Matt, I like it. I hope you like it as much as I do.
Of course, I enjoy it.
I don't know. I really loved learning about Al. I think he's.
I think the Al Goldstein library is going to be a
gift that keeps on giving.
A deep repository, a mine that will never be exhausted.
Yeah.
We'll pull him out.
Just the random shit that pops into his head at any time is
it's
just
28
insane.
Years. Yeah. There's 28 years.
Yeah, and like these are like some of these little sub thoughts where he's like, oh, you should, and they're like, hold up, what did you say?
You just said something very stupid.
So this is the Time Life collection of.
Yeah, but the thing is that like
10 disc set or whatever.
That's the best of.
Yeah.
7 DVDs.
Imagine the worst of.
The 7 DVDs is the best of.
Yeah.
Like, how insane is that? That's not
right.
It's a 20-year show.
It's not the entire collection. It's just the best of. Wow.
Yeah.
I think Carson, they only had like 5, so.
Dude, yeah.
Man, fuck that guy.
Yeah. He went to one porn movie.
Whoop.
On Al Goldstein's recommendation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Sika sat on Al Goldstein's face, so you tell me.
And Linda Lovelace blew him.
Oh, God.
And he tells everybody that. It's great when he gets old and he's just like,
Linda Lovelace blew a dog too, so.
No morality.
Dog.
It's one of the claims is he always brings up Seika and Linda Lovelace and 7,000 women
and 3 guys.
No, he doesn't bring up the 3 guys too often. He does bring up the 7,000 women. He does say he invented pornography.
Yeah, he invented
that's
jail
stupid.
in 71 for pubic hair.
That's
all
right.
that shit comes up a lot. But he's a real pain in the ass, but I just think a great character.
Yeah, and it's we owe podcasting to some of that too.
For sure. Yeah, it's he's a really unsung hero of just weird shit being out there.
Unfiltered media.
Yeah, man.
I like it unfiltered, baby. Raw dog in my brain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you like that raw?
What is that like? That's like perverted macho man.
Yeah, it's like perverted mask, dog, like top, like daddy dom fucking a twink or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
You're making it fucking hardcore history though.
Well, it's hardcore.
You gotta imagine you're fucking me.
You gotta imagine nobody had ever been this deep in your ass before.
You gotta imagine you're in the jungle.
Yeah.
taking my machete to your ass hairs, peeling apart the foliage of your butt cheeks. Now, does that make me an effeminate sword swallower?
Machete's a sword.
In the deep recesses of the twink's anus, you can feel the true Asian revenge. And those here who cannot survive on the skills of fucking or sucking will be relegated to the
nails and toes.
To painting of the nails. You'll be demoted to the theater of toes and filthy feet and fingers.
You're more of a nails and toes.
All right, we're going to say goodnight, everybody. My name is John Fahey.
I'm Aaron Peter.
Matt Brousseau.
I love everybody. Bye.
Oh, God. So stupid.
Scarpins Avenue.